so it's not really facing me anymore. It's not facing the show. All right. Has anyone heard of the Alien and Sedition Acts? All right. This is really, it's always on the exam. The Alien and Sedition Acts of 1798. Okay. All right. What these were, there were these two acts. One was the Alien Act. What's an alien?
Someone who does not belong to the country.
Yeah, it's somebody coming in the country who is not a citizen, right, who doesn't belong. Is Rahel an alien?
Yes.
She is. She's just not an illegal alien. Not like, from Venus, but she is not a citizen, right? You're a Swiss citizen. Well, if you were coming over to America, in the Constitution, actually, there were not a Constitution, but there were laws passed that it took you, if you wanted to become a citizen, you had to wait for 5 years, and then you could file for citizenship and you become a citizen, right? Well, with the Alien Act, during the Quasi-War, there became hysteria. What does hysteria mean?
Craziness.
People stop thinking rationally, right? There's war on, people start making these really, really harsh laws. It happens a lot. How many of you have heard of, what we did to the Japanese during World War II, right? With internment camps. During World War I, we did some stuff. During the Civil War, Lincoln basically just ignored the Constitution to make sure we got stuff done. Oftentimes, political parties who are in charge can get things they want done to help them out during war and use the war as an excuse. This is what happened. If you are a Federalist, do you like people coming over to America?
No.
Why not? Why don't you like them?
Because they could be richer than me.
What? No. The Federalists aren't worried about them taking their jobs. Think, please, like I told you to think. What type of people do the Federalists fear? The mob. Not because they're going to take their jobs, because they're uncontrollable. The Federalists don't fear poor people because they're scared they're going to become physicians and, lawyers. They're scared of these people because they're unruly and hard to control. Does this make sense? And the more people who come over here, they don't become Federalists. People who come over to America were becoming what type of party? Jeffersonian Republican, right? So what they did during the during the Quasi-War was pass the Alien Act. And this made it take 14 years to be a citizen. Since people right now are scared of the French, this passed through Congress because of this hysteria. Ooh, we don't want people from outside. We can't trust them. And we get the Alien Act. Who is this going to hurt?
Anybody want to come in?
Party-wise. Jeffersonians, Tiger.
What was life expectancy by this point?
It was better than in Europe. I don't know exactly the date. You can look that up. If you want, I would think probably in the 50s or something like that. But I may have just made it up. So yeah, the Alien Act, because it was dangerous foreigners. Then you have the Sedition Act. What does sedition mean?
Do nothing. Just sit there.
No.
That's it.
That is being sedentary.
Oh.
That'd be the Sedentary Act. That is the life of most Americans. Sedition is like treason. Sedition is going against your government. And the Sedition Act was passed in 1798 during the Quasi-War, and it said that anyone who got in the government's way could be arrested. Anyone who spoke out against Adams could be arrested. Anyone who said something bad about a government official could be arrested. Anyone who wrote badly about the war could be arrested and fined. What does this look like it might be violating? The First Amendment, right? How do Jeffersonians, you think, on average, feel about us fighting the French? They didn't like it, right? They're pro-French. So many Jeffersonian newspapers will be writing against this, criticizing Adams. Are you allowed to criticize the president in America? Absolutely. You think President Obama doesn't get criticized? Good Lord. He goes to Texas, he probably has to have a big giant shield around him. But this is going to be a big deal because it's violating the Constitution. But the problem with this is, who decides what is and what is not constitutional? Today, who decides? Supreme Court does. But in 1798, we didn't know yet. There hadn't been that precedent set. Jefferson, this is ungodly important. Jefferson thought states get to determine what is and what is not constitutional. He's a states' rights guy. He thought if a state didn't want to follow the law, the state could what's called nullify a law. They could just say, we ain't following this one. He believed in something called a compact theory, that the states formed a compact. The nation was a compact union of states. Not of people, but of states. So he and Madison wrote these two resolutions. One was the Kentucky Resolution, one was the Virginia Resolution, where they nullified those laws. Kentucky and Virginia would not recognize the Alien and Sedition Acts. They nullified those laws.
So nullify means just ignore.
Nullify means you are not going to follow, right? So if I'm like, there's homework tomorrow, you're like, I've decided to nullify that. I shan't do it.
Then you get a subpoena.
It would depend on the arrangement of our little soiree here, right? If we were all equal and I gave you homework and you didn't have to do it, no, but it depends on the authority level. You don't have to do it, right? It's not illegal for you not to do homework.
Shoot a zero.
Yeah, you still have the consequences, right? I can't make you do anything. So, what are the results of the nullification? First of all, nobody else did it other than Virginia and Kentucky. But this is going to start a giant argument that's going to be settled in a few years after this, where we find out who actually declares laws to be unconstitutional. And today we think it's the Supreme Court, right? We use it. That is a precedent that was set in 1803, which we'll be getting to tomorrow. But the Kentucky and Virginia resolutions is a giant piece of evidence to show that Madison now and Jefferson believed in the state right to nullify a law. By the way, do you think they were right? Was the Sedition Act probably unconstitutional?
Yes.
Yeah, and a bunch of Jeffersonian newspaper people were arrested. People were arrested and thrown in jail for criticizing the president, writing and speaking out. That is, hopefully, I would think, unconstitutional. And this leads us to the election of 1800, which is sometimes called the Revolution of 1800. Again, it's Jefferson versus Adams. Look how fast we're going through presidents. Imagine if we did a president this fast every day. Go through two of them, we'd be done with all of history. Like, how great would that be? Really great, Joe. That's the answer. Why do you have a Duke shirt on? The school, right? Not the basketball team. In this Jefferson and Adams election, it gets dirty. Dirty. Joe Dirty.
Like mudslinging dirty?
Yeah. All the Adams, now Adams did not say something about Jefferson, and Jefferson didn't say something, but all their people did, right? And all of Adams' people are like, he's an atheist, he doesn't believe in Jesus, and he's got a bunch of slave babies. Now, was any of this true?
Maybe.
Most of it actually was true. He did have an affair with a slave named Sally Hemings. They did have many children together. And he did not believe in the deity of Jesus Christ. He believed in God in the sense that he was a deist, right? But he was not a Christian. And he did have an affair, a long affair with Sally Hemings. So there was mudslinging. Adams was made fun of for being, contrite and hating average people, fat, bald and fat, losing his teeth. It was rough. They made too much debt. You couldn't trust him. This time New York goes for Jefferson, and Jefferson wins.
What was the mudslinging on?
He just kind of,
All the stuff they were saying back and forth.
Okay, that's
They didn't literally pick up mud, but yes, I mean, the stuff about atheists and slave kids and things like that. I mean, to be fair, if someone said, you're an atheist who's born a bunch of illegitimate children, that's a pretty big mudslinging, right? It's hard to like the Jefferson got elected doing that. Imagine today, if you had like 5 illegitimate children and it came out that in America that you're an atheist. Although to be fair, people said that Obama was a Muslim terrorist.
right.
But I don't think those 25% were going to vote for Obama either way. Once he opened the door and they saw that he was black, I was pretty sure those same people probably weren't going to vote for him, whether or not he was like, you know, had a card that says I'm Jesus' son, and they still weren't going to vote for him. That'd be a good card to have.
We're the Federalist handcuffs.
Do what?
Federalist handcuffs.
Okay, well the Federalist handicaps they had high taxes, like I said, they had high debt, and the Alien and Sedition Acts. The Alien and Sedition Acts the Alien Act was actually kind of popular, but their handicaps were that they were passing unconstitutional laws. But the reason why this is called a revolution is significant. This is the first time in the history of man, the first time in the history of man where a different government democratically and peacefully came to power. There was no overthrow. There was no lineage. Right? I mean, because Washington was a Federalist and Adams was a Federalist, was the same government. But now it's a completely different government. And they came to power peacefully and democratically. And that had never happened before. It's a really big deal. And people were so scared Jefferson was going to be this gigantically turn everything the Federalists did around. But we'll see that isn't the case.
All right, interested in your attention for just a minute, please.